welcome back to the 13th Destiny with Magnum podcast. And unfortunately, my co-host Danielle Long will be out today. She will be back with us next week, and hopefully we'll have a guest show on. Going to do the typical weekly shout-outs to our friends at the Holiday Inn University Plaza Hotel here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. As you well know, those who listen to the show know I've been doing business with them for over 20 years and a major supporter of the hotel. Be sure to visit them at 1021 Wilkerson Trace here in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and the Sloan Convention Center, which they manage for the city of Bowling Green, is adjacent to them. So there's all kinds of events that go on there, so always check ahead. But if you're coming to Bowling Green, Kentucky, it's one of the hotels that I highly recommend because it's my favorite hotel and my official hotel of my businesses, and especially the 13th Destiny. So anyway, also check out our friends down at Oak Grove Racing and Gaming down there in Clark and down there in Oak Grove, Kentucky. Sorry, I'm having a hard time today. This is third time's charm, by the way, getting this on today. Anyway, they are at Oak Grove Racing and Gaming down there in Oak Grove, Kentucky, and check them out. They are near Fort Campbell, Kentucky, home of the 101st Airborne, and of course Clarksville, Tennessee. Well, anyway, I just got back on Saturday evening late from McNairy County, Tennessee, Adamsville, Tennessee to be exact, in McNairy County. That is, if you don't know, Adamsville is the home of Sheriff Buford Pusser of the Walking Tall, original Walking Tall trilogies in the 70s. But we're going to talk about a little stuff about Buford Pusser, the real man versus the legend, also some stuff about Adamsville. I'm not here to condemn Buford Pusser in any way, but I'm here to point out that Buford's a hero as far as I'm concerned. Until you show me some definitive proof that Buford is anything but that, that's what he shall remain. I don't get into this controversy, and I think we can have differences of opinions, but part of that controversy that has been going on for several years now, and it's unfortunate that as far as I'm concerned, as far as what I can see, if that were in a court of law, a lot of it would be thrown out. A lot of it would be hearsay. It wouldn't even ever make it to the light of day. So unless you show definitive proof. And, there was a lot of stuff going on with the TBI and Pauline's body being exhumed recently. And whatever the report is there, I have said, and I'll be the first one to say it. And I have told people who are on Buford's side that I'm on Buford's side. And until I'm showed something that's actually real, it's going to remain that way. You can love him, you can hate him. Everyone has freedom of their opinions in this country, or at least we used to anyway. I don't know what's happened. I don't know what's happened with some of this late. Look, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. I don't have to agree with you, but we don't have to have some major fight over and over this. All right, you can have two viewpoints, and that's the way the American system is supposed to work. But there's something else that I'm going to bring up about the American system, how it's supposed to work. This character assassination of Buford Pusser in the court of public opinion is not how the system is supposed to work. Buford Pusser, just like anyone else, should be considered innocent until proven guilty on anything you're trying to naysay or say that he did. Now, again, I'm going to put the disclaimer: I'm a supporter of Buford Pusser, because I've not seen anything definitive at this point. But let's get past that. I just wanted to put that out there first. And by the way, I want to also say thank you to Synova Cantrell, which I will also be putting a link to her books that she signed to me for the Buford Pusser Festival down there. It is tagged with that on the cover. The Dawn of the Dixie Mafia by Synova Cantrell, and I was down there at the museum with her for a couple hours and stuff, and chatted with her, posed with her, and you can find all that on my pages and stuff. But let's talk about Buford now. Let's talk about the facts versus Walking Tall, and why Adamsville needs Buford Pusser. Okay, so let's get into that. Let's get a little background for those of you who may not know who Buford Pusser is. There are people out there I run into all the time that don't know who Buford Pusser is and has never seen the Walking Tall movie, not any of them, even the remake. Buford Hayes Pusser was born December 12, 1937, and he died in August 21st, 1974. He was only 36 years old when he died. He was the Sheriff of McNairy County, Tennessee from 1964 to 1970, and Constable of Adamsville from 1970 to 1972. Pusser is known for his versatile one-man war on moonshining, prostitution, gambling, and other vices along the Mississippi Tennessee state line. His efforts have inspired several books, songs, movies, TV series. He was also a wrestler known as Buford the Bull in Mid-South. The Buford Pusser Museum was established at the home he lived in at the time of his death in 1974. A Buford Pusser Festival, which I just came from, and also the museum, is held each May in his hometown of Adamsville, Tennessee, which technically that's not his hometown because he was actually born in Finger, Tennessee, but it's his hometown that he grew up in, and he, of course, moved back there. He was born in Finger, which is also in McNairy County, Tennessee. His dad had been the police chief at one point, and then Buford would eventually become the police chief. He had a short-lived career in the Marine Corps where he was discharged for asthma, something that me and him have in common, which being put out of the military for something related to asthma, which was something I didn't even know until I read the book The 12th of August, even though I had seen the Walking Tall movies growing up. And then I would have to separate facts, fiction, and all kinds of stuff. And that's the thing. You have to do that with Buford Pusser. If you're just with the legend, you really don't know the history. I mean, there's a lot of violent history, regardless of how violent Walking Tall was. But to really know the stuff, go by and visit the museum. Talk to Tina. Talk to these people, the ladies that are running that museum. Dewana used to, when Dewana, his daughter, was still alive, of course, she did a lot with the festival. She did a lot with Adamsville, and the museum. I think that she was probably his greatest advocate that was left. And now a lot of people, and I don't want to dwell on that a lot. I want to talk more about Buford and the real story. But so I'm going to get past that a little bit. But I do want to mention Dewana. Dewana was a very great lady. I almost had a chance to meet her. I hate that I didn't get a chance to actually meet her. I missed that opportunity. And to this day, I really hate that I didn't get to meet her. So Buford Pusser was constantly, let's just talk about this for a minute. The real Buford Pusser was in the newspapers and the stuff back in those days all the time. He was already a very local hero to a lot of people. He took on what was known as the State Line Mob. He took on and the parts of the Dixie Mafia, who were working together with each other. These are facts that some people have tried to also eliminate, but they're the facts. And like I talked with Synova when she was on my show, the thing is, we even find the characters who are bad guys. We find them fascinating, but you guys are the bad guys. I mean, okay, plain and simple. Didn't mean you wasn't fascinating, but so was Buford Pusser. So not that he wasn't the bad guy as far as working there, but he was a very interesting character. Was he perfect? No, people, he wasn't perfect. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Just because someone's a hero, it doesn't make them perfect. Heroes are people who are turned into legends. If you just are with the legend, anything that's going to let you down, even the people who, like me or other people that support him, if you just look at the legend alone, you will be disappointed because the legend is bigger than Buford Pusser, partly due to Walking Tall. Walking Tall was very fictionalized, even though Buford Pusser was on the technical advice of that movie. If you look in the end of the movie, you'll see that he is a technical advisor. Technical advisor doesn't really do that much as far as scripting and all that. He just kind of gives you this. Let me explain how technical advisor works a little bit. Technical advisor kind of goes, okay, well, that was part of my story, so yeah, you can take this. Oh yeah, you guys want to embellish that? Yeah, sure, man. That looks really good on film. I get. Oh, excuse me for hitting the mic. I get that. That's why y'all are doing that. That's what happened with Buford Pusser. He wasn't telling. And someone has said recently, well, Buford Pusser did an interview where he said this was like 90% accurate. Buford Pusser was being told by producers and stuff what to say, people. There's no doubt about that. Been in around entertainment stuff long enough to know at that time when that movie started doing so well, so when he was doing these interviews, I guarantee you that he was told to say that. People say, well, why would he do that? Why would he? It's not that he's saying that these events are 90%. And so he's not here to defend himself anymore, but that's kind of what would have probably happened in the end if he were still here. He would go, well, yeah, this happened. Well, no, that didn't really happen like that. Okay, and a man who's been shot 8 times, stabbed 7 regardless, that's still massive. Jaw blown off. People have tried to dispel that. There's surgeons that say, these were high-powered rounds that went through. I mean, I wasn't there. Neither were you. Neither one of us was there, and that's what I'm trying to get at. We're only dealing with the history of a man that died when I was 6 years old, but I grew up watching Walking Tall, thinking, and here's what I thought. Up until I learned more about Buford Pusser, I thought everything in Walking Tall was real. Because even though, in top mind, when I was really young, I thought it was all real. Let's put it this way. I mean, when I was 6, by the time I got to be a teenager, then I realized I caught on to the whole, oh, look, this is a fictionalized movie of events in Buford Pusser's life. So then I became fascinated with, wait a minute, fictionalized. So what's the real story if this is fictionalized? Well, I started learning a little bit more. And by the time I was a young adult, I finally got to read The 12th of August, which is pretty much along the lines of what Morris at that time wrote. But Pusser, to disclaimer on this too, Pusser was under contract with him at the time. There's been a lot of other controversies about things that came along later. If you look some things up, you can find out a whole lot of stuff, and there's reasons for that. But there are a lot of the naysayers and the people who want to defeat Buford Pusser as anything are going. And some of the people, look, I get it. He may have arrested your family member. He may have killed someone that was one of your family members. That happens with law enforcement, as we well know today. A lot of times that happens, in situations that are not even anything what Pusser was fighting. Pusser was truly fighting, real problems, real issues. Did he do some things that you absolutely shouldn't have done as a law enforcement person? Sure. Come on, people. It was a different time. If you try to compare that time to today in that small town of Adamsville and that small county of McNairy County, Tennessee, if you try to compare it to today's law enforcement, that is 2 totally different worlds. They are worlds that are separated by time and events and things that you could not imagine. Now, Buford Pusser is credited a lot of stuff that he didn't exactly do, but you know what? He certainly put a hurt on those people. He certainly put a hurting on them. But if you do the research, you'll find out that they pretty much killed themselves all off before it was all over. That's not in dispute by anybody that supports or doesn't support Buford Pusser. That part's not in. I don't even think anyone who is against Buford Pusser, unless they're really against him, like maybe people that were related. I don't think anyone that's just on the edge of trying to say something about Buford negatively. I don't think that even they have disputed those facts per se, as far as what I can tell. I try to get away from that. I try to just not even look at it because I want official proof. I want official people, and they may let us down too. Who knows? We don't know the answer to all that yet. There's controversy surrounding the sheriff that was the incumbent. He ran again. If you look at the entire story, all of this, there's controversy all the way back, and it's not just Buford, and that's what gets me. Buford alone is not not all the controversy. There's controversy surrounding the sheriff before him. There's controversy of things that went on during the time of Buford Pusser. You have to take everything with a grain of salt, and you have to look at Buford Pusser's life. It's a horrible situation up until the end, where things had come along, and for everything that he went through, everything that he'd lost. Ask yourself, put yourself in Buford Pusser's shoes. He's fighting a war that so many people are not there to help him. You don't know what went through his mind. I don't know what went through his mind. You do not know this answer. I do not know this answer. I mean, I never met Buford Pusser. I never met his daughter. I've got some family relations that moved in that are married into the family and live in McNairy, but that's beside the point. But there's a lot of I think one of the controversies surrounding the death of his wife is something that it's taken out of context a lot. And like I said, I will not condemn a dead man without some kind of real proof. And part of the problem with this is some of the things that are going on go back to rumors and things that were put out 30 minutes after a radio call realized that Buford Pusser was still alive. If Buford Pusser had been killed in the ambush, and I say the ambush happened, if he had been killed in the ambush, you would have never heard any of this. You would have heard that a sheriff in McNairy County, Tennessee, and his wife were killed one morning. And I believe that that's what the story would have been had Buford Pusser not survived the ambush. Problem is, Buford Pusser survived the ambush. And I don't think people understood things back then like we do now. And we touched on this a little bit when I had Synova Cantrell on. I talked just briefly about how loss of blood and PTSD, both of those scenarios, have been proven today that you can have issues with the memory of what happened with the traumatic situation that you went through. So one of the things that have been said in recent years has been that, he didn't quite have his. You know what? That's why the military today and police have body cams, they have video. They have learned the hard way that everything is not accurate. And then, of course, eyewitnesses are not accurate. Something you saw or you thought you saw may not be what it was. That's why eyewitnesses in court of law are horrible. So, but Buford had from the facts of everything, Buford went through hell. Okay, I can't even imagine what it could have looked like to the amount of blood you would have lost, the amount of I can't even imagine what it would have felt like to have lost your wife, in the car next to you. Walking tall doesn't even do this justice, okay? Because justice is not being done for anybody, Buford or Pauline or anything, until something is proven correctly. And it may never be. Buford's legend may be just what you've come to learn in Walking Tall. Buford's wife's death may be just what you came to learn in Walking Tall, or something you've learned. I do keep suggesting go to the best archive there is, and the museum is the best archive of all the things that went on. There are people there that are even related, that are still alive. They're related to one of his deputies, that was with him for 5 of the 6 years he was sheriff. Until something has been proven otherwise, please take a step back and remember that in the United States of America, there was a time we were always supposed to be the system of innocent until proven guilty. And unfortunately, Buford, just like a lot of other people in this country, have been attacked in the court of public opinion. That is not reality of what is facts, folks. It's just not. It's not reality. So Buford Pusser was, these are some facts, and they're interesting facts. Buford Pusser was the youngest sheriff in Tennessee history. The incumbent Sheriff Dixie, was killed in a car accident just prior to the election. That's true. Some of it in Walking Tall is embellished, but he did die in a car accident, but he was alone. There wasn't any deputy with him or anything like that. And of course, I'm telling a few things from Walking Tall. And if you watch Walking Tall, I suggest you do it after. If you've never seen it before and you want to watch Walking Tall, me and Danielle watched it the other night. I would suggest that you do it after you've visited the museum, or if you've learned some stuff about Buford Pusser that are the facts that are written about him, the newspaper articles, the things that are out there that were real at the time. To come back and say this didn't happen, that didn't happen, or it's not the way it was, without some real facts instead of just rumors and stuff like that. That's not the way this country's supposed to work. And we can agree to disagree. Okay, and I'm going to probably get some hate. I don't care. I don't care. I've went through some hell myself. And you'll either love me or hate me anyway, just like people either love or hate Buford Pusser. There's no in between. You either got the people that just absolutely hate him or the people that absolutely love him. And then, of course, there's a lot of people that just have watched Walking Tall, but that's just the legend. That's not Buford. It's not the man who suffered so many things, and like when Synova was on my show, she mentioned, and the reason I'm mentioning Synova is because I did meet up with her down there at the museum, and I am going to put a link in about her book and stuff. You got to understand that there's so much stuff on Buford Pusser that is according to the papers and the things that wrote about him early on. These were the facts. Please look at the facts. Don't look at the rumors. Don't look at the to start with. Look, if you want to look at that later and disagree with me and go, oh, but don't do it in a like the derogatory way or whatever. I'm never against anyone having a difference of opinion, and I think that's the way we should be. But I like to base reality on facts that you have, not facts that are rumors or made up that could easily be thrown out in a court of law. So that's just the way I see it. So let's talk about Adamsville a little bit too. Adamsville needs Buford Pusser. Adamsville absolutely needs Buford Pusser. If you've never visited there, it's a very small place. Yeah, there's a lot of other interesting things about Adamsville, but they're not the draw that Buford Pusser is. The Buford Pusser Festival, even though I'm not going to go into my personal opinion, I think they need to, there's some things that need to be changed. But it does. The name brings people to Adamsville and McNairy County, Tennessee. The museum brings people to Adamsville and McNairy County, Tennessee. Let me ask the question, and you ask it in your head. If you'd never heard of Sheriff Buford Pusser, or you'd never heard of Walking Tall, do you think that they would have the amount of people that travel in there for the tourism that they have, for the museum, for his name? Or would they have the Walking Tall Trail? Would the state of Tennessee have done this? Would the state of Tennessee done that? Would Adamsville needs Buford Pusser. And I hope that everything plays out in a positive way in the end for Buford Pusser. And listen, I know, listen, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here on the people that don't like Buford Pusser, especially the ones that their family members, I get it. You hate Buford Pusser for a reason, but you're hating Buford Pusser for, you feel that way. That's your legit, oh, they arrested my family member, or they killed, maybe he killed. I saw a posting from someone that claimed to be a relative of someone he killed, and I get that. You've created a hate because you've never looked at that except from a family standpoint. I get that, but according to the facts, family members were doing bad stuff, But I get it. Family is family. There's people here in Kentucky. We have the same issues, like not like Buford Pusser or McNairy County, but certainly, especially over in our eastern part. You could very easily get drawn into a family battle, I get that. So I understand where you're coming from on that part. It's the other people that have no connection to this whatsoever, one way or the other, that are drawing all that in and are feeding on that. That seems to be a problem. But hey, you know what? It's a free country. Now that's the thing. And I keep telling you, I'm not hating on the person per se, or the persons on per se. I'm saying I just hate that this public opinion court of law is being instead of a real court of law. And look, social media, everything. Today is a different world. My God, I couldn't even imagine what it would have been like. What kind of negativity would have come back if, Buford would have probably been arrested. Guys, come on. In fact, there's no way that Buford Pusser could have done some of the things he did today. He made he made some. I want to say he made some honest mistakes fighting fire with fire. I don't believe that but I think he believed in his heart. This is what I believe. I think he believed in his heart. He thought he was doing the right thing, even when he was doing things really, really, really hard. It just seems like that's the kind of man he comes across in real reality outside of the Walking Tall movies. If you look at the things he said, the things he did, it seems to me that he comes across as this man who is wanting to do the right thing, sometimes not always doing what was 100% could be illegal. I mean, there's some things that today, if you did it today, you'd lose your badge in a heartbeat. But I think in his heart, he believed he was doing the right thing for his town, his county. I think he believed that, and that's what makes him a hero. It's not all this Walking Tall legend or the legend in general or the songs that were written about him, the books were. No, it's what was in his heart to believe what he thought he was doing the right thing. He thought he was doing the right thing, is what I think. Now, was it 100% the right way? Even I can disagree that that wasn't true. But I still think he is a hero. And until you can prove me wrong, he's going to remain a hero. Okay? And that's why I support him. I'm going to support him until something is. And I will give the Adamsville page credit. At least the write-up they did on that just prior to the festival about Buford and everything, and that they were considering him still a hero, even though there's a lot of controversy. And I give them credit. That's something that they did that was positive, not letting it get all into the court of public opinion. But let's talk a little bit more about Buford Pusser before I get off of here. Buford Pusser, like I said, he was sheriff from 1964 till 1970. Those were 6 years of absolute, of course, everything we know, living hell. His wife, according to all indications, was killed in an ambush in 1967 that was apparently meant to kill him. There are doctor's records. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be, someone can correct me on this if I'm wrong, I believe he had to have 18 surgeries to repair the damage that was done to his jaw. I can't imagine that anyone in their right mind on the naysayers would absolutely try to. There's so many things that could go wrong with that. If that were the case, if that's the way, at this point, I just don't see that. So again, Buford Pusser remains a hero until proven guilty in a court of law or with evidence that proves he did anything wrong outside of the things we already know he did. That wasn't 100% like he used to do as a law enforcement officer today, because he wouldn't make it as a law enforcement officer today. But those, again, you cannot compare today to then. It is two totally different worlds. A lot of law enforcement people never went to academies. They never got certifications. And that's Buford. Buford was a trial and error on the job kind of guy. And that's the way a lot of it was back then. It wasn't like it is now, and maybe Buford Pusser would have been a totally different person if it was, but I don't necessarily buy into that either. I think he would have not done certain things. Excuse me. Definitely excuse me. Plus what happens, I don't have Danielle to help me out. And I get on something. But he might have been different in some ways. But there's a lot of good stuff about Buford Pusser. And if you just want to look at the negative, anybody can look at negative. But there's so much good stuff about Buford Pusser too. And I think he believed in it. I think he believed in trying to do the right thing. Did he go about it in a very unique, his own way? Absolutely, he did. That's not in dispute by either side. But I think that he died at a time where he was becoming different in a way. He went through a lot of stuff, but I think the success of Walking Tall was actually making him, a little bit different with the people. Obviously there were people that didn't like him still. There was people that didn't think that maybe he should have had the fame that he had, obviously. That happens. You get fame of any type. Listen, I've dealt with this on a smaller scale. But his last night, he went to a dunking table. He let people dunk him at a fair. I mean, he was playing basketball with people on the last night. Early on, I mean, that was the kind of person that was doing stuff because he loved his town. He loved the people. He loved the people, the regular people. That proved that, and no one ever talks about that much, other than just the facts of that, you know. And then he started acting differently, and that's where all the controversy of his death started. You know, what really happened? Well, maybe he was just killed at drunk drive, but it was all sealed up. We're never going to know unless they let us know. And a lot of times there's reasons beyond anything that we can talk about, but you have to look at Buford Pusser with a grain of salt, and you have to look, I like Buford Pusser. I mean, look, there's some things he did as a law enforcement officer I don't agree with, but again, I agree with why he was happening to do it at the time he was doing it. Or where he took someone out and he did something because he was threatening his kids. Okay, that's a more parental thing, you know. And if you've ever been a parent, you damn well know that you start attacking someone's kids and talk about killing their kids, you're probably gonna go off. Should he have done what he did? No, we all know that. Come on, but we know that Buford, in his heart, and that's the way I feel, I think in his heart he felt like he was doing the right thing, you know. But yeah, he was a little over the top with some things, but he's still a hero to a lot of people, and he's still a hero to me right now. And you know, until you prove Buford Pusser's done something wrong to the level that some people are trying to, with just, you know, rumors and stuff like that, he remains a hero. He was shot 8 times, stabbed 7. He was targeted for assassination. He was run over. He was beat with he did a traffic stop one time where he was beat with this massive wrench where he had to jump on top of, I believe he jumped on the car and had to punch through stuff to get the car. I mean, that's the real Buford Pusser, you know, not all the stuff that was played up in Walking Tall that some people have made him into a large, what he was made into a larger than life legend because of Walking Tall. No doubt about it. If you mention Buford Pusser to most people that do know who Buford Pusser is without, you know, going to the museum or knowing stuff about McNairy County and Adamsville, 9 out of 10 people go, Walking Tall, yeah, because that's all they know of Buford Pusser is the Walking Tall legend. Learn a little bit more. Buford is fascinating outside of the Walking Tall legend. Don't look at him as just a legend, because he was just a man still. Every celebrity, legend, or anything like that, you have to remember that they are human. And if you only look at the legend, they're going to let you down at some point. You know? Buford's not really let me down. But I come from a point of view of knowing that Buford Pusser was still a man. People make mistakes. People do things that are not 100% what they should do. We all do. And if you judge Buford Pusser only in the legend, then you don't. Then you're setting yourself up for a letdown. But if you look at Buford from the point of he was a man trying to do the right thing against all odds, that everything under the sun was against him, then you've come to a different viewpoint on Buford, I think. You can't just do it with the Walking Tall legend. That's not feasible. And then you see something and go, well, I didn't know Buford Pusser ever did that. That, you know, a fact that is true, you know. And you go, oh, well, why would he do that? Again, different time, different era. You know, I look at it like this. These were some really, really bad people that he was dealing with. I mean, the military had reports on this, how bad this bunch was. Okay? That is truth. That is reality. I want you to understand that I consider Buford Pusser a hero. You can hate me. You can send all kinds of stuff. You've done it with other people. I'm sure you'll probably want to do it with me too. And I'm okay with that. I don't care. I've been in the public eye myself for many years. I've had people try to hurt me. I've had people, even prior, I kind of did it the backwards way compared to Buford, but that's, I don't know, well, maybe Buford kind of did that way too in a way. But the point is, I understand the human standpoint. I understand that everything is not the reality of Walking Tall. I understand it's not everything's the reality of the books or the songs and stuff that built him up. But they built him up because of what he went through. And if you understand that, you will have a much better understanding of Sheriff Buford Pusser. Look, a lot of people are going to hate police no matter what. Okay, that's a reality too. And now I come to this with a different standpoint. I know some people that don't like police, but usually the people that hate police have had a bad experience with them. Well, obviously there's some people that had some bad experiences with Buford Pusser. I get that. But again, I go back to, I believe in his heart, he believed he was doing the right thing. And it cost him. It cost him so much. From every fact that I can see. It cost him his wife. It cost him pain and suffering. It cost him not being able to be elected sheriff again, because I think a lot of people thought he was just too, as one person had said, just thought he was too mean to deal with. And yet there was other people that said that he had a very nice side too, that he was very soft. If you look at an actual interview of Buford Pusser, you see him as a very soft-spoken person. He doesn't come across as this hard, but he would fight fire with fire when he had to. And that's something that his daughter Joanna said. You know, even she admitted that there were things that he did that you couldn't do today. Even she admitted that. And if you watch the video at the museum, I think you need to visit the museum. I think you need to visit. Look, I'm encouraging you to visit the museum in Adamsville, Tennessee, and I hope that Adamsville will. And I'm not trying to condemn them on the air here. I'm trying to say that I believe that Adamsville really needs Buford Pusser. They truly need Buford Pusser. If you've never been there, it is a very small place. And Buford Pusser is a big draw. That's the reason that sign is out there as you're going to Adamsville, and it says home of Sheriff Buford Pusser. There's a reason. They need Buford Pusser. They may not, some people there may not think they do, but I want you to take this into consideration. When I talked today about Sheriff Buford Pusser, let's talk about this for a minute. If Sheriff Buford Pusser had never been Sheriff of McNairy County from 1964 to 1970, if the Walking Tall movies had never been made, the books had never been done about Buford Pusser, if Buford Pusser had, let's just take this into, if Buford Pusser had just stayed in Chicago and he didn't go back, could you imagine the fact that you would have never heard of McNairy County, Tennessee, most likely? You would have never heard of Adamsville, Tennessee. You would have never heard of Finger. You'd have never heard of Carl or, his father, or Helen, his mother, who was also a great advocate during her life, who lost a lot of money trying to prove things about her son because she loved her son. There's so much history that is not in Walking Tall. So please visit Adamsville, Tennessee, and absolutely visit the museum. I'll be putting a link in for the museum. I'll be putting a link in for Synova's books too, about the dawn of the Dixie Mafia. So this show was mostly about Buford Pusser and about everything from the controversy to the legend and what you really need. Oh, and I'm sorry. I do not. This has happened before a couple of times on my show, and I don't know why. Every once in a while we have a drag on the mic, and I apologize for that. But let's get back to Buford real quick. There's so much to read up on Buford Pusser, but read up on the positive stuff. Read up stuff in the museum. Go to the museum, visit the museum, learn the history from there. Then if you want to go the opposite way, that's fine. That's your way, your opinion. I don't discourage anyone, but I say learn the facts from the news articles and the museum and that stuff first. And if you've ever watched Walking Tall, that's great, but go and learn something about Buford Pusser that's not in Walking Tall. Read The 12th of August by W.R. Morris. It's a book that both Synova and me both recommend. I've read it. It's a very good book on Buford Pusser at the time he was Sheriff of McNairy County. which is kind of what laid in later to Walking Tall. But Walking Tall, again, so embellished. I mean, but if Buford Pusser had stayed alive and he had played himself in the second movie, I think that we would be having a totally different discussion today. I don't think it would be what we're dealing with today. And Buford Pusser had that dream of playing himself, and I mean, so many things he lost. And in the end, he even lost getting to play himself in the Walking Tall movie. So, I think it was Buford. It was going to be called Buford the movie. It was the second one. I think a lot of people said it was Walking Tall, but it's not. It was called Walking Tall Part 2 after his death. But originally, I believe if I'm not mistaken on that, it was going to be called Buford the movie. Was going to be the second part. So, oh wow, I got lights going on and off. Oh my goodness, got some power issues over here at the studio. Well, anyway, that was my talk on Sheriff Buford Pusser. I went down to the festival. I visited with Synova over at the museum. Got some pictures on my pages, my personal and my public figure page. And thank you for signing the book to me, Synova. And I will be linking your stuff about selling your books and stuff. So I got no problem with that. There's Synova has very good writing about Buford in her book. I am not going to give any of that away. I want you to buy her book and if you want to. I mean, I'm not, I can't make you buy it, but it's a good book. I've read it. It's a really good book, and it has a lot of stuff about the dawn of the Dixie Mafia. It's really, really good book. I literally got the original copy, and not the copy she signed to me, and I read that book in the first night that I got it, because only two books in my life I have ever read, and it's ironic that they're both got relations to each other. Only two books in my entire life I've ever read in the first night. The one was the 12th of August, which was all about Buford Pusser during the time he was the McNairy County Sheriff. And then when I got Synova's book, Dawn of the Dixie Mafia, which got some stuff in there about Buford as well, I literally couldn't put that book down either. So these are the only two books in my entire life I've ever read in one night. So anyway, check those out. I'll put the links in. And whether you love or hate Buford Pusser or don't know anything about Buford Pusser, check it out. Buford Pusser is an amazing story, no matter what side you come down on, and it is fascinating. Check it out. Check Buford out. Please visit the museum. I'll put a link in for the museum. The museum is absolutely the go-to place about Buford Pusser in Adamsville, Tennessee, McNairy County, Tennessee. Thank you for being with us today, and thank you. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Send us email at the 13th Destiny podcast at gmail.com. You can check us out on Magnum 1968. That's the YouTube channel, which was originally used for the Magnum's models, Magnum Caliber films, which is now pretty much all out except for the film part, which will eventually maybe go to video on the podcast. But we're still having a lot of talk, and we're still young. But thank you for listening to the 13th Destiny with Magnum. Danielle will be back next week. Hope you're having a great day, and may God continue to bless all of you.